Hello, Tim. How are you?
Hi, Tatiana. Really good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. I have my pretty boy plushie that I'm very
Yeah,
excited for.
he's so good
Yes.
looking.
So good looking. It's so true. Um, but Pretty boy is more than just a pretty boy. He has a very dynamic and interesting relationship with the Us Ugly Secret Society,
Yeah,
especially with Maddie. Can you talk about the growth of that dynamic?
yeah. I mean, Pretty Boy is has been corrupted by too much adoration in his life. He's, suffered this. His beauty and his fame have totally left him with no perspective, and he's a typical rock star narcissist. Um, but he sort of there's a beautiful and very funny honesty about him, and his honesty and kind of forthrightness uh, at the beginning of the film makes him nasty, but at the end of the film makes him the best friend you could possibly have, because that absolute honesty and clarity of intent carries over. And once he realizes that Maddie is actually beautiful, in the true meaning of the word beautiful, not just looking beautiful, he's incredibly loyal and never hesitates in his once he gets over the idea that he deserves to be with koalas and should be going back home, he's the best friend you could possibly have.
I love that. I, not knowing anything about the Australian outback, learned many new and fun facts about various creatures while watching. Did you learn anything about any particular species that was very surprising or frightening to
Ah, that's a
you?
good question. I don't know. I mean, I've worked in this space before, in specifically in animated films about the Australian outback. So I
Mhm.
have worked with Harry before, and so I guess I was across all these creatures. I know that cane toads breed prolifically. Yeah, I think I knew most of the stuff, but it's really exciting to think that these unique Aussie creatures in this unique Australian environment are going to be on the TV screens of kids all over the world. It's really cool.
Definitely. And speaking of working with Harry before, I have now in this year watched like three things by him about like how amazing Australia is. So
Yeah,
clearly that is
yeah,
very important to him. Does he
yeah.
infect you with this energy, or was that something you already, patriotic pride
Oh,
you already
yeah.
feel?
We Harry's lived away from Australia longer, so he probably has that expatriates romanticized view. I live here now. Harry still lives in the States. I, I'm a writer. I make my own stuff, and Harry and we're very close friends. And I always send him my stuff to get his thoughts, my scripts, because he's been writing scripts for a lot longer than me. We take a different approach. My TV show, which I'm not allowed to be talking about because that's not what this is about, is an Outback Australian adventure too. And yeah, if you watch that, you'll see that I'm coming at stuff from a different angle. But we're both trying to use the Australian environment as such a unique sort of backdrop for story, and the desolateness, this idea of a journey requiring you to really stick together, and because it's so harsh, that sending characters across such a harsh environment, of course, is a perfect backdrop for a spiritual journey where you have to learn to love one another.
I love that. Now, for Pretty Boy, how did you find the prettiest voice for him, the perfect way of speaking?
Well, I understood that the comedy of Pretty Boy is that he's a beautiful koala with an ugly soul. Of course, he doesn't have an ugly soul, but that's how he appears. So yeah, I kind of looked around. I talked to Harry and Claire about how much he should sound, how Australian he should sound, or, whether he should sound like an international transatlantic rock star, And they said, oh, he should just be like you, mate. I'm like, all right. So he mostly sounds like me. He's a bit more dramatic than me, but yeah, I understood that, a beautiful little koala who looks like a baby being voiced by a 46-year-old, vocalist was probably, it meant I didn't have to think too hard about it.
It was a fabulous combination. Thank you,
Thank you.
so much. I had a great time watching.